Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter and now on Vero at Movies TV Mad. And welcome to Tuesday's edition of the DCEU Daily. I didn't do an edition of the DCEU Daily yesterday. Did I miss anything? Did anything big happen? Oh yes, Joss Whedon decided to come back and speak about claims of misconduct, what happened on the Justice League set, and his relationship with Ray Fisher. He's called Ray Fisher a bad actor. He said a lot of things. He said that Gal Gadot misunderstood him and he wasn't being abusive or threatening her career. Wow, this is a desperate man at a desperate time of his career trying to save his career. Now, I'm not here to start screaming about Joss Whedon all over again. For me, this is very boring. It's old news. It's nearly 5 years ago. We shouldn't be talking about this today. We should be talking about Peacemaker, The Batman, Black Adam, Flash, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, and Batgirl. It's such a huge, exciting year to be a DC live action fan, but people are trying to drag us back. For all the blue ticks on Twitter who are saying, Joss Whedon, you're an a-hole. Where were you in 2017? Where were you? When we were shouting about Joss Whedon, we were called toxic fans, Russian bots, every ist and ism under the sun. But now it's cool to kick Joss Whedon when he's down. I don't like kicking people when they're down. Even someone like Joss, right? Because Joss Whedon, listen, if the accusations are right, he's done a lot of bad things. But let me say this again. Nobody outside the industry knows more about what happened on that Justice League set than me. Oh, how do you know? You've only got 921 subscribers. You're not... Why would you know more than journalists? Because I'm paying attention, because I spent 6 months in Hollywood, because I know where to listen and who to talk to. That's why. And I've told you this before. And I'll tell you this again. Everyone on that set, minus Henry Cavill and Ezra Miller, acted like a-holes. Everyone, apart from those two lads, acted in the wrong way, acted unprofessionally. Those are the facts. That cast did not want Whedon. And if it wasn't Whedon, it would have been somebody else. Nobody could have taken control of that set. They were so triggered and unhappy in the way Snyder was treated, especially when he was mourning the tragic death of his daughter at the same time. The way the studio treated him was despicable. And let's not forget, Whedon was part of this production some way in before Zack was driven out as well. And Zack was okay with it. He said before, maybe he can help. You know, maybe a fellow director can help me, talk to these people. But, of course, he'd already been given his 30 pieces of silver. He didn't really want to do Justice League. He really didn't want to get involved with someone else's film. He wanted to do Justice League and get his Batgirl movie. And it's very ironic right now that we're hearing a lot about Batgirl as the movie's in production. And we're seeing a lot of on-set pics. It's very exciting. This was his dream. It must be very, very hard for Joss right now to see his career flushed down the toilet. But the decision to take over Justice League is what destroyed his career. If not for what happened on the Justice League set, we would never have known about some indiscretions on the Buffy sets and how he treated other artists and things like that. That's what was his undoing. But as I say, it's boring, it's in the past, and I'm not here to go on and on about what an a-hole Joss Whedon is, because I believe everyone on that set was an a-hole, apart from Henry Cavill and Ezra Miller. That's my understanding, that those two lads were the only people, the only artists on that Justice League set who acted professionally, and that's not a surprise to me. So let's read what's going on here. Let's read the interview. This is from Variety. Joss Whedon breaks silence on misconduct allegation, calls Ray Fisher a bad actor in both senses. Now, let's talk about this thing. I don't like Ray Fisher as a person, as you know. I think Ray Fisher himself is a bit of a propaganda merchant. He's a bit of an a-hole. And if I was a director, I wouldn't want to direct someone who was whispering in my ear how to represent his people, because Cyborg isn't representing the black community. Cyborg is representing an iconic legacy character. Now, Ray Fisher performed him exquisitely, and Zack Snyder wrote and directed, along with Chris Terrio, this part exquisitely. So some of the stuff Whedon says about Fisher makes no sense, but this is a desperate man trying to reach back and get his career. I think Joss Whedon probably will start directing smaller projects, and this is his beginning. This is not good for him. He shouldn't have done this interview because it's still raw. He should have stayed quiet, done a little project and kept his mouth shut. Unfortunately, he attempted to readdress the balance. Now, right now, it's not working, but Weedon could have more information to impart. Now, Ray Fisher has said he didn't want to talk about it on Martin Luther King Day. That kind of sums up what he's all about. He's all about his people and, you know, his politics and his propaganda. That's why I don't like Ray Fisher. From the moment he went after Hamada, me and Fisher were over. He's even blocked me on Twitter. I didn't say anything rude to him. I wasn't threatening or aggressive. He just didn't like what I was saying because I was speaking the truth. He doesn't like the truth. He only likes his own version of the truth. So let's have a look at this. Filmmaker Joss Whedon has broken his silence on the multiple allegations of misconduct against him from productions he oversaw, including the 2017 film Justice League and his influential TV series Buffy the Vampire Slayer. In a lengthy interview with New York Magazine that published on Monday, Whedon denied Gal Gadot's allegations that he threatened her career while working on Justice League. While Whedon took over after original director Zack Snyder withdrew from the film following a family tragedy. I don't threaten people. Who does that? People who threaten people? Whedon told New York, English is not her first language. I tend to be annoyingly flowery in my speech. Whedon said he told Gadot that she would have to tie his body to a railroad track before he would cut a scene she wanted removed, and that Gadot misunderstood as Whedon threatened to tie her to a track instead. Gadot's response to the story, I understood perfectly. This is interesting, right? This is interesting. So he's changing things a bit, or he's speaking his truth, or she's speaking her truth. Whatever the case, again, you can tell here that Gal Gadot and Joss Whedon acted unprofessionally. Gal Gadot was brought on by Zack. Her part in the Snyder Cut is beautiful, better than her role in Justice League. But you look at her role in Justice League, actually, it's not that bad. I don't like the upskirt stuff. That's disrespectful. That shouldn't have happened. But in terms of what she did, kind of the argument she has with Batman, it's not that terrible, her element of that. So she clearly wanted the bit when she lays on top of Ezra Miller gone. I heard Ezra wasn't very happy about this either, but it was just a joke. It was just a joke within a film. It weren't like he wanted them to get naked and start romping. So again, Gal, you're the actor, he's the director. Shut up and get on with it. That's my opinion. So that's my opinion on that one. But again, it's just unprofessional people going public against other people. I don't like this. What do you want us to do about it? You were on a set, Gal. You should have done as the man said. As I say, he just asked you to lay fully clothed on top of another person. Was it really a big deal? It's not my gag. I didn't find it funny. He's done it lots of other times. He's done it in the MCU as well. But it's what he wanted. At the end of the day, he wasn't asking you to climb up a wall without a parachute or any mattresses at the bottom. It was a reasonable thing to ask, even though I don't like it. I don't think it's funny. At the end of the day, he wasn't asking you to do anything that bad, was he now? Weedon is less forgiving in his assessment of Ray Fisher. The actor's July 2020 allegations that Whedon's behaviour making Justice League was gross, abusive, unprofessional and completely unacceptable was the spark that led to the collapse of Whedon's career in December 2020. Warner Brothers said an investigation into Fisher's claims resulted in unspecified remedial action, weeks after HBO said Whedon was withdrawing as executive producer of The Nevers. Fisher also alleged in a Forbes interview from October that he was told Weedon had lightened an actor of colour's complexion in Justice League. Now, this is interesting if Weedon speaks about this, because he didn't like the skin tone, which Forbes later retracted. Interesting. Why did they retract it? Maybe because it wasn't true. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter published April 2021, after the release of Snyder's 4-hour cut of Justice League on HBO Max, Fisher alleged that when he tried to express his concerns about the reduction of his character Cyborg in Whedon's 2-hour version of the movie, Whedon told him, "It feels like I'm taking notes right now, and I don't like taking notes from anybody, not even Robert Downey Jr. Right. So I'm an actor, and my role is reduced, right? Let's just get rid of this pop-up. Right. I'm an actor and my role's reduced, right? So someone reduces my role. I can moan, I can be frustrated, but I don't have any right to go to a director and demand my role not be reduced. I can say, listen, I don't agree with this, I'm not happy, it's not good for me, it's not good for my career. But Whedon had every right to reduce that role. I don't agree with Weedon being part of that movie. I don't agree with Zack being forced off. The Snyder Cut is one of the best movies ever made. It's beautiful. It's one of the great top tier movies. I was watching it with my nephew the other night, partially. It's beautiful. It's amazing, and he was getting into it. It's not about Zack. This is not really about Zack anymore. And if you want to reduce an actor's role on a film, you have every right to, because he was under pressure from the studio to reduce the runtime. So Ray Fisher's character arc was one of the victims of this. He had to do something, right? Fisher didn't really care about the pressure that Weedon was under. He only cared about himself and his propaganda about representing his people. And this is the problem where Fisher is concerned. If I'm a director and I've got Fisher in my ear, I'm probably going to react worse than Joss Whedon did. To New York, Whedon says he had brightened the entire movie, including all the actors' faces, and that he talked with Fisher for hours about his changes. He says he significantly cut down Fisher's screen time because Cyborg's storyline logically made no sense. Right, let me just respond to this. Fisher's arc makes absolute sense in the Snyder Cut, but it doesn't make any sense in the way Joss was cutting down the movie and reframing the movie. That's what he means, but for some reason he doesn't expand on that, or the article is cut down naughtily. And that Fisher's performance was lacking. He denied Fisher's allegations, saying none were true or merited, discussing instead Whedon claimed that Fisher's actions were done in bad faith, meant to sully Whedon's reputation to reconstitute Snyder's in advance of the release of the Snyder Cut. So he's saying that he was just trying to make Whedon look bad to make Snyder look good. Now, by the way, he's not trying to say that Snyder put him up to this, but, you know, it's look, I don't want to say Zack's behind this because I don't know. I don't know the motivations. This is just Ray Fisher. I don't think Ray Fisher needs any prompting from anyone. But again, I believe this. I believe what Joss is saying here. Ray Fisher isn't exactly a person I particularly trust because he has his own agenda. As I say, this is boring, this is 5 years old, it's going on out there, I have to deal with it as a DC fan, but after this I want to move on from it because I'm so excited about these films, and I will allow nothing to sully these 5 movies coming out this year. I back every director and every creative who's involved in these movies. I'm a DC fan, and I'm done with Ray Fisher. I'm done with all the drama of the Snyder Cut and the Snyderverse. I'm happy that Zack got his movie, but it's boring now. The other discussions and all this is boring the fuck out of me, but it needs to be discussed because I need to put my opinions forward. And so you can react to what I'm thinking, right? Anyway, we're talking about a malevolent force, Whedon said. We're talking about a bad actor in both senses. Now, I've already said this, that obviously Ray Fisher isn't a bad actor. In fact, his performance as Cyborg, as much as I don't like the guy, is tremendous. He's a great Cyborg, and I dare anyone to do anything better. But at the end of the day, right, Ray Fisher, he's right. Ray Fisher acted in a bad way. So he's a bad actor. He's an unprofessional person in a way. The way he acted towards Weedon and the pressure he was putting on Weedon to get his own way was unprofessional. He's not in charge, right? It doesn't matter what colour your skin is, where you're from, whether you're a minority, a woman, LGBTQ, whatever. That doesn't give you the right to take control of a set. I'm sorry. Again, I'm on Weedon's side here. Representatives for Fisher did not immediately respond to a request for comment from Variety. However, Fisher directly acknowledged and refuted Whedon's new statements through his official Twitter late Monday. Looks like Joss Whedon's got to direct an endgame after, Fisher wrote. Rather than address all of the lies and buffoonery today, I will be celebrating the legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Tomorrow the work continues. Again, mentioning Martin Luther King so he can give his racial propaganda an uplift. So yeah, that's what he said, and let's see if he does. He does address this. I mean, we're still waiting for him to save one of the Faruqi brothers' career at I forgot the place where they were just talking about it, right? One of the Faruqi brothers are great little journalists. They do videos and everything. They're great. Big Snyder fans, great movie fans. He did an interview with one of them, right? They lost their job. He lost his job. This lad lost his job. And this guy doesn't blame Fisher because he believes Fisher is the second coming, right? But that lad lost his job with that media outlet because a lot of the stuff was unproven. There was no evidence, and that's the problem. So Fisher's very, very selfish when it comes to his fight. And what is his fight? For his people and his political propaganda. That's what he used the Snyder Cut for. He hijacked the excitement and, the buzz towards the Snyder Cut coming, right? He hijacked it for his political propaganda and for his revenge mission. And this is the problem with Ray Fisher. Fisher's allegations were followed in February 2021 by actor Charisma Carpenter's allegations that Weedon was casually cruel to her while making Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So basically, I don't want to talk about the rest of it because it's about Buffy and we're not here to talk about Buffy. So ultimately, everyone, this is old news. Now, what Whedon's done here, he's put us DC fans in a bit of a mire again because we're having to react to this. We're having to talk about it. We're seeing all these blue ticks saying, Joss Whedon's an a-hole, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's freely, taking Zack Snyder's side. But where were you in 2017? This is old news now. We fought for Zack. We revealed what was going on that set. And there was a lot more going on that set than you can ever imagine. And really, nobody, apart from Ezra Miller and Henry Cavill, can stand up and say, I was professional. Nobody was professional on that set. Everyone acted improperly, and that's my opinion about it. So I am not here to go on and on. That's my opinion about it. Everyone acted like a-holes apart from Ezra Miller and Henry Cavill. I don't stand with Ray Fisher. I don't stand with anyone. I stand with DC fans and the future of DC live action because I believe they are sorting out their shit. I believe going forward, we have got a very exciting universe to come. And it's important that Warner Brothers just ignore Ray Fisher, ignore Joss Whedon, and move forward. And for the people who keep on saying Warner Brothers are a terrible company, blah, blah, blah. The people running Warner Brothers in 2017 are not even the people who own Warner Brothers and run Warner Brothers today. More propaganda. But you know what? While they're all going for Joss Whedon and kicking him while he's down, they're leaving Leslie Grace and her Batgirl costume alone. This has been the DCEU Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection. And remember, everyone, it's a huge year for DC. I celebrate it. I celebrate James Gunn. I celebrate Matt Reeves. I celebrate the Black Adam director, Andy Muschietti, a very young new director. And I celebrate James Wan. If everyone was like these people, instead of people like Joss Whedon, the entertainment industry would be a great place. I will see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.